The Los Angeles Clippers are re-signing James Harden to a 2-year, $81 million deal. We're going to discuss it all and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Show at gmail.com. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And James Harden has declined his player option, and he is signing a 2-year, $81.5 million deal to return to the LA Clippers. The second year does have a player option and is partially guaranteed on top of that. This continues James Harden in his run with the Clippers. And the Clippers are a team that's trying to make sure that they are staying above, the bottom of the Western Conference, right? They have a team that is really good, and I think when you had Norman Powell in his season last year, Kawhi Leonard having one of his most healthy seasons, they're trying to build on top of that and not take a step back, which is a really big deal for the Los Angeles Clippers. So I'm glad to hear that James Harden was able to re-up, sign a new deal with that Clippers team that locks him in there to be there for quite a while when that's all said and done. And the Clippers are going to be an interesting team to watch because, you know, how with the changes in the Western Conference, where they were last season, which wasn't in a bad spot. The Clippers were one of the more fun teams to watch last season with all the developments that they have, even when Kawhi Leonard was not playing, how Norman Powell played for them at times last season and all that, how that shook out. And so the Clippers now get to lock in, you know, much like, you know, other teams are doing, locking in their core and keeping those players around. Chris Dunn had a really solid season for them as well last year. Now return that. You have Derrick Jones Jr. We'll wait to see what happens with Ben Simmons. Bogdanovich also, I think, announced his retirement as well. So, you know, the Clippers are a solid team, but they aren't necessarily a team that I look at and I say is a surefire championship contender. I think that they can go on a playoff run for sure. But their key thing is going to be stepping up and finding the right mix, and hopefully maybe a year of continuity. If you can get another healthy season for Kawhi Leonard, getting those things locked in, that's going to be really big for that team. So James Harden getting his money, staying there, and shout out to James Harden for just having a long NBA career. You know, getting back after leaving Philly and how that whole thing shook out. At 35 years old, he was still 20th in the league at scoring at almost 23 points per game, shooting the ball 41% from the field, 35% from three, also averaging 8.7 assists per game, and continue to show that he can be the guy that can be the hub of your offense on a team that did, like I said, pretty decently in the Western Conference last year. So we'll see if how and where they are. You know, that Clippers team last season, they won 50 games last year. They were the 5th seed in the Western Conference, but we know the teams are trying to improve around them. The Minnesota Timberwolves are hoping a year of continuity and some changes around them. We just talked about them locking in Julius Randle and Naz Reid, and they were only one game below the Clippers. You know, at the Golden State Warriors, a full season of having Jimmy, Dre, and Steph there. Hopefully they're hoping for some health as well there. This is going to be a season in the Western Conference that's going to be as wild as it always is in the Western Conference. But the OKC Thunder are definitely going to be head and shoulders, expected to be head and shoulders, I should say, above the rest of the teams in that conference. But the Houston Rockets, they won 52 games last year. They added Kevin Durant without giving up a whole lot of their core. Important pieces of the core, but a whole lot. So we'll see where the Los Angeles Clippers are going to be to sit at in all of that when it's all said and done. Well, and as I was getting ready to wrap up this recording, actually, just came out, Bobby Portis intends to sign a 3-year, $44 million contract to return to the Milwaukee Bucks with a player option for the 2027-28 season. We talked about Bobby Portis doing something similar to Naz Reid as far as opting out of his contract to then come back into the contract. And so this is a pretty big deal, I would say personally. I think this Bobby Portis is a really important piece to the identity of the Milwaukee Bucks. And I think now being able to lock in Bobby Portis in that deal, it goes a long way. He has a really good relationship with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I'm sure that they want to keep as many good players as they have on that roster and on that team there as they're trying to convince that they are doing the right things to make a contender so that Giannis does not ask for a trade. Bobby Portis is a player that came to the Milwaukee Bucks after having a kind of downturn on the season, being traded away from the Chicago Bulls. He was with the Washington Wizards. That didn't really go the way that he hoped. And, you know, now he was looking for a home. He found that in Milwaukee. He helped them win a championship And he's just been a player that's done just about everything that they could possibly have asked for out of Bobby Portis. So, keeping as much familiarity around, especially with Brook Lopez on a decline and stuff like that. Bobby Portis, who averaged 14 points per game, 8 rebounds, 46% shooting from the field, and 36% shooting from three. Now, he only played 49 games last year. So, of course, they're going to hope that he can play more games this upcoming year. He only started 7, but, him starting, that's one of the benefits of Bobby Portis. He can come in and out of that starting lineup when needed. But the Milwaukee Bucks get their big man, Bobby Portis, locked in to another contract, and I don't think that that's a bad deal at all for Bobby Portis. I think this is a really good, fair deal for a player that still is playing really good. He just turned 30 years old as well back in February, so he's going to be 30 the majority of the season, turns 31 about midway through the season, and I think Bobby Portis still has a lot that he can give to this Milwaukee Bucks team, but let me know what you guys think on that signing as everything down below. But with that, the OKC Thunder, who we just talked about, they made a couple of moves as well. Jalen Williams, the big, he re-signed there as well. And now they also re-signed A.J. Mitchell to new deals also. They're keeping the majority of their core together. We know that they made a draft acquisition of Thomas Sorber as an additional big that's going to be really... It's crazy how the Thunder, and I'm going to probably do a video on this, on how the Thunder just stay getting rich. They stay rich, and they just, because of Sam Presti and how he's operated that team, he's done such a good job at just constantly restocking that team with talent. And it's crazy to see because it's just, they now have a big rotation of Thomas Sorber, the rookie. See how he cracks the rotation, but he doesn't have to do a whole lot. You're adding that to Isaiah Hardenstein and Chet Holmgren, and you have now 3 versatile bigs that both are really good. All 3 are really good defensively, and so to see that the Thunder continue to just, like I said, re-up everything and decide where they're going to be. They're going to be good for a long time to come, are they? And that's going to be really, really fun to see, I think, when it's all said and done on it. But, so they re-signed Jalen Williams. They get AJ also re-signed to a new deal as well. And then we had a trade that happened today as well. Colin Sexton being on the way to Charlotte in exchange for Yusuf Nurkic. Now, not that I hate Colin Sexton coming to that team. I think you get some point guard depth for the Charlotte Hornets, which they need some guard depth there. But now the Charlotte Hornets don't have a center, right? Well, they did just draft a center there, but are they going to rely on a rookie center to bring what they're going to need? That's a question that you have there. You have Ryan Kalkbrenner, who was one of the better picks that fell to the second round of that draft. And now you got Colin Sexton, who can back up LaMelo Ball. I think he also has a chance to play a little bit with him. Also got Trey Mann there also, but the Hornets better get to work, or they better have something cooking as far as in free agency to get another center out here, because are you just going to trust Ryan Kalkbrenner as a rookie and Moussa Diabate, the second-year man there? I think he's going into his 3rd year now in the league, but, is that going to be enough for you? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, but maybe you guys feel a little bit of a different way when it comes down to it, but quick update up. So let me know what you guys think on all of that down below. Make sure you guys are following us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number 1 spot for everything basketball related. I'll see you guys the next time I need to make a video. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.